Hey guys, so Zoom isn't working for me tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a recording of the presentation and then I'll put it on the Facebook group and hopefully I can get this Zoom situation figured out later on. So if you tried to get on, I do apologize. I have no idea. I just created a new Zoom account, so I'm not sure what the problem is. So anyway, let me go ahead and do my screen share. And let me get this pulled up here. All right, guys. So the other day I kind of did a poll about, what was one of your biggest struggles with the nutrition, and I got time. That time was really an issue. So I thought I would just go over some time-saving tips for healthy eating. And maybe you're doing some of these, maybe you hadn't thought of it. I was hoping to do a question and answer afterwards and get some of your feedback or maybe some of your ideas that maybe I don't cover. So since we're doing the recording instead of the live Zoom, please in the notes, share your tips with how you're staying on track and being a busy individual. So let's just dive right into it. So kind of think about, your day the night before. So you kind of know what you have on your plate. And just think, okay, I'm going to literally be out of the house and kind of build you some meals based upon that. So if you think about it the night before, the chances of success for the next day are really great. I always use that analogy, fail to plan, plan to fail. So here's just a little example of somebody who had thrown together something to help them stay on track for the next day. So one of the things that you can do is look beyond fresh produce. We love to use fresh produce, but I've heard a lot of people say that it goes bad. Think about some other alternatives to that. So most of us don't get the recommended servings of fruits and vegetables each day, partly because it can be time intensive to wash, prep, and store your produce. So keeping that frozen or canned option on hand can be a lifesaver when you're short on time. These options are just as nourishing, with the added benefit of it being less perishable and sometimes less expensive. So if you are somebody whose produce is always dying on you, I have gotten some awesome Tupperware from Janice, which keeps my produce longer. But if you find that it's not working for you, definitely frozen, some steamable vegetables are a lifesaver, and even having some canned options ready to go. Chop everything at once. So always chop the whole onion or pepper, carrot, or celery. Prepping when you have the time will make it easier to grab and go and use the ingredients when you don't have time to, cook and clean them later. But you still want to make a healthy meal. Having prepped aromatic vegetables ready to go makes it easy to whip up a quick stew, stir fry, veggie, tofu, or egg scramble. I absolutely love my stir fries. It is a great boost of anti-inflammatory vegetables. Plus, I get a great big helping of protein. It takes literally just a few minutes to make one. And having all that stuff ready to go is definitely a lifesaver for me. Embrace the snack meal. So one of the easiest ways to throw together a meal, and you're really just going to combine a bunch of snack foods and create a meal that with various flavors, textures, and nutrients. This saves times because you don't have to cook. There's no prep or cleanup. Plus, it can combat boredom since various items can be combined different ways each time. Stock up on things like string cheese, deli meats, raw veggies, dips, crackers, dried fruit, nuts, and then combine them for whatever you're looking for that day. Maybe it's more salty, maybe it's more sweet. Think of it as an elevated Lunchable or a low-key chattery board. So buy pre-cut and pre-bagged foods. This is something that I always do. I always go to Kroger's or Walmart, and I will buy the cauliflower, broccoli, carrots already cut up and bagged. It's about $5 for a great big bag of it, but If I buy the broccoli and, separate and the cauliflower and I got to cut it up, it just takes a lot longer. So having it already cut up is so easy. So there's no denying that the more budget friendly option is to buy the ingredients whole and prep them, which we talked about earlier. But if you're really in a crunch for time and need a way to get healthy foods on the tables, highly recommend paying for that convenience when you can. I do. Vegetable trays, sometimes you can find those on sale. Those are always good. Frozen vegetables, we talked about that. Bag salads come with all those mix-ins. So, you're ready to go. You don't have to just cut the top off and get it ready for dinner. So they are a little more expensive, but if you're somebody who really is saying, I don't have time, it's worth the convenience of paying a few extra dollars for that to be already ready for you. Stock up your freezer with healthy meals that require zero prep. Among the many levels of busy is so busy that you forget what's inside of what the inside of a grocery store looks like. To avoid getting stuck at home after a long day without anything on hand that you can throw together, make it a habit to keep a few meals in your refrigerator that you can simply open, heat up, and eat without having to even think about prep or cleanup. And there are many different meal prep companies out there, and some even deliver. I highly recommend, if you are somebody who is on the go a lot, to go ahead and reach out to some of these meal prep companies. I know that we sell Herculean meals in the gym. Dusty has highly recommended that Yo Mama's meal prep company. A lot of these companies, if you're traveling, you can call them and they will deliver to where you're at. So that can kind of help keep you on track when you're traveling. But, buying these, a lot of them like the Herculean can be kept frozen. So you're just going to buy up some, you're going to have them in the freezer. And then when you're having a day where you have been so busy and you really literally don't want to think anymore, you just need to pull that out, heat and eat. So that takes a lot of pressure off of you. Batch cook and freeze to make sure you've got something good on hand for those extra busy days. Cooking meals when you have the time and stashing them in the freezer, then you just have to defrost and heat them up as needed. For example, make a batch of chicken meatballs and keep them in your freezer for when you don't have time to make dinner. For even more a hands-off approach, make meals in your slow cooker and then freeze half to make future meals. And it's definitely a lot less stressful. I literally use my crock pot every single day. If you could see my crock pot, you would see that I do use it every day. It's literally falling apart. But, I could put some frozen chicken breast into that crock pot. I can leave for, 5.5 hours and then come back and literally have, chicken that can be made into chicken pizzas, chicken wraps, chicken tacos. So there's so many different things I can use with that chicken. So definitely crock pots, Instant Pots, things like that can definitely help. Prep your ingredients in advance. Meal prep is popular because it's really a great way to cook efficiently and not have to make mealtime a big to-do every single time. To keep some variety in your meal prep game, try prepping individual ingredients instead of a fully constructed meal. That way you can combine them in different ways and keep things feeling fresh throughout the week. So it's got, for example, if you prepare proteins such as chicken, roasted vegetables and starches such as sweet potatoes or rice ahead of time, you can make that into a quickly balanced, healthy meal. So like I said earlier, my chicken that I make in the crock pot can literally be made into many, many different meals. Get creative with your condiments. So once you feel comfortable with basic recipes, you could experiment with new flavors by switching up the sauces and making a meal feel different or new with minimal effort. Look for the lower calorie ones. And there are a lot of great ones out there, including popcorn seasoning. I know that sounds weird, but if you look in the popcorn aisle, there are popcorn seasonings. So there might be Parmesan cheese, nacho cheese, a butter one. So these are things that you can sprinkle on your food that will kind of jazz it up a little bit. So you can take something that's kind of bland and make it taste like something different. So I use the popcorn seasoning quite a bit. We've talked about a lot of the barbecue sauces and things that I have found. So if you know of any out there, please share those in the comments. Organize your workspace. An unorganized or cluttered kitchen can cause you anxiety and make the whole meal prep process overwhelming. An organized kitchen can make finding your ingredients and tools easier. You can move more quickly when preparing your meals. Clear space on the countertop so that you have a dedicated spot to meal prep. And keep appliances and gadgets that you use frequently in an easy to use place, not stashed away in the back of your cabinet. That is what I do with my food scale. It is right in the spot where my bowls and plates are, so that as I am heating and eating, I have got my food scale right there, and it does make it a little bit easier for me. Have a plan without sticking to a meal plan. When you're busy, sticking to a rigid plan meal, it can be challenging. It takes a lot of mental energy to think more than a few days in advance. And sometimes it feels impossible to predict what's going to happen. Instead, try to keep a few what they call MVP meals in your back pocket that require minimal prep or cleanup and 20 minutes cook time or less. And keep these MVPs in mind when you're doing your shopping so that you can make sure you have those options. So maybe that's like, Taco Tuesday, something that will be relatively easy. Kind of keep those in mind when you're going to the grocery store, and make sure that you have those ingredients for those quick meals. Make a recipe book. Take the things and put them together so you have a physical book. You can print out recipes off of our page or search on Pinterest, and just to have them in a physical space so that you can go to and reference at any time will help to cut down on your meal prep time. Also, when you're going grocery shopping, you can kind of pick out a few meals maybe that you want to try so that you have those ingredients for the week. And meal prep breakfast the night before. So I am a big fan of prepping. So there's easy to grab and go. And this can be especially helpful if you're new and you don't have a lot of time to eat breakfast in the morning. You can just make eggs and veggies in a muffin pan, and then you can just pop them in the microwave when you need a quick meal. It's full of protein. It's a great way to add in veggies for your day. You can also pre-bag up your smoothie or your shake recipes. You can put them in the freezer and just pull them out the next morning and put them in the blender with milk or yogurt. And it's really easy for you to stay on track that way. So just think ahead. Keep it simple. Remember that every meal and snack doesn't have to be fancy. Just because you didn't spend a lot of time prepping your meal does not mean your meal is not a healthy one. A simple sandwich on whole wheat bread with fruit and yogurt makes a great lunch. So does a snack meal. Some days you have to remember that as long as you're eating something that's nourishing and gives you energy, that's a win. So I've shown my plates many times. I eat extremely simple. I am not someone that loves to cook. I do cook for Chris, but as far as me, if you look at my plate, it's probably going to have a protein, and it's probably going to have raw vegetables. And then I'm probably going to follow it up for like dessert with a yogurt. So that is the way my plate looks. I may have some sauces on there as well, but I eat very, very basic. And then we've talked about this several times, and I've talked to many of you about this, is carry snacks with you. If you really don't have time for a meal, you want to make sure that you at least have some healthy snacks that you can grab to keep yourself feeling full until you can sit down to a proper meal. So I put down that like jerky nuts or some other portable protein in my bags, so that I always have something just in case. So I talked to you about having these emergency bags. So these are bags that you can keep in your office, in your car, that has those proteins, because that's what's going to make you feel fuller, is the protein. But literally just having some healthy snacks that you can eat until you can sit down is going to help, because if you don't and you go into a meal hungry, you're going to overeat, or you're going to stop at the gas station and possibly make a terrible decision. So guys, I think that is my last slide. I don't think I have any more. So I am going to go ahead and record. I've been recording, but I'm going to go ahead and share this to the group. And I do apologize that the Zoom is not working correctly. I had that fear when I set up a new Zoom account that it wasn't going to work correctly today. And I thought I tested it and I thought it was going to work. So I do apologize. But please post any questions that you have in the comments. Also, I would love to hear your guys' suggestions of what you do to stay on track given your busy lifestyle. I mean, you probably have some ideas that I haven't even thought of. So please share those in the comments, especially for the new people who are starting out, who are struggling. Some of you OGs that have been doing it a long time have got a lot of great tips that you can share. So I just encourage you to do that with the group. So have an amazing evening, guys. I do apologize that we couldn't be together live. I will get this fixed so that the next Zoom in 2 weeks will be live. I believe Jennifer Tackett is going to be doing some mindset training that evening. So until then, have an amazing day, guys. I'm going to stop the share here. And I'm going to get out of here, maybe. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.